So guys, we have a lot of news to cover in today's video. I am now back making videos. Make sure you like and subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload. So basically we're going to cover everything going on with the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, Randall Cobb included. So we all know Aaron Rodgers is returning back to the Green Bay Packers this season. We saw him in training camp and he is for sure 100% going to play this upcoming 2021 and 22 NFL season. So he is at training camp right now and he is ready to compete for a Super Bowl with the Packers this year. But basically, he is back at camp, but he had a press conference yesterday explaining a lot of his decisions and his issues with the Green Bay Packers. So he ended his standoff by reporting at Camp Tuesday, and we had a press conference yesterday, which was Wednesday. This is being recorded on Thursday, while most notable public figures save their alt-text. Rodgers made one thing clear during his press conference. He's not a fan of how the Packers front office operates. The quarterback chose his words carefully, telling reporters he loves everyone, his teammates, his coaches, the city, Packers fans, the whole organization. And when Pelissero asked him what the offseason standoff was about, it didn't take Rodgers long to just get everything off his chest, just to say a lot of things he was feeling and examples of how the front office has irritated him well before 2021. He said, quote, "I think it was a lot of things that transpired. This wasn't a draft day thing," Rodgers said, referring to initial reports of his discontent. He started the conversation in February after the season ended that he just expressed his desire to be more involved in conversations that directly affected his job. So he also wanted to help the organization learn from some of the mistakes in the past, in his opinion, about the way some of the outgoing veterans were treated and the fact that they didn't retain a number of players that he felt like were core players to the foundation and to the locker room. High character guys. He was talking about Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Randall Cobb, who's now back, James Jones, John Kuhn, Brett Good, TJ Lang, Brian Bulaga, Casey Hayward, Micah Hyde, guys who were exceptional players for us, guys who were great in the locker room, high character guys, many of them who weren't offered a contract at all or were extremely lowballed and were maybe, in my opinion, not given the respect on the way out that the guys of their status and stature and high character deserve. And then it kind of progressed from there into a commitment from the 2021 season and beyond that really wasn't given at any time. So for him to address the situation, not necessarily wanting to be a lame duck quarterback, especially after an MVP season, as you can understand. And then the other part in February was wanting to be part of the conversations involving free agents, which has never happened in his whole career. He's also tried to pass along information, hasn't really been used. So he wants to offer services as a recruiter for the Packers. I think we can all understand Green Bay isn't a huge vacation destination. People are coming here to play with me, to play with our team, and knowing that we can win a championship. And here, the fact that he hasn't been used in those discussions is what he wants to change to move forward. And he felt like, based on my years, the way I can still play, that should be a natural part of the conversation. The lack of commitment to Rodgers was a central narrative surrounding him in the spring and summer, and he didn't dance around discussing the matter Wednesday. It wasn't about money, the quarterback said, but instead was much more about the team moving forward with Rodgers as a key figure in Green Bay's future. Rodgers said he had the opinion on-field direction of the franchise, and he wasn't certain he even wanted to be in Green Bay beyond 2021. All of his followed an elite season from Rodgers, one in which he won the league's MVP. He felt as the Packers were slowly closing the door on his time in Green Bay, and he wanted control of his situation, especially after seeing so many beloved teammates lose control of their own situations and essentially left behind. In Rodgers' words, if you want to make a change and move forward, then go ahead and do it. Obviously, I didn't show up for the off-season program or minicamp. To me, it was bigger than this. Rodgers explained it was about trying to be a resource for the organization that I care about and love so much. Green Bay came to Rodgers with an offer that included a monetary increase, but as the quarterback said, that's not quite what he was pursuing. So Rodgers said, when the money came to me, the backstory to that is after the season, there was a part of me that did think there would be a conversation about an extension based on my cap number this offseason. Next season, Rodgers continued, it seemed natural based on the way I played to at least have a conversation about it. There wasn't a conversation not until May. So then Rodgers gives an analogy about you working out a job and you're doing an amazing job and you ask your boss for a raise because you feel like you deserved it and earned it, and they say, oh, we'll see how it goes, we'll think about it, but they don't do anything until as soon as you get the opportunity, another job opportunity, then they talk about the raise and want to keep you. So this is why Rodgers compared it, is because they didn't offer the contract earlier in the off season, and then when all these reports started breaking and it seemed like Rodgers might leave Green Bay, then they were like, oh, whoa, now we have to offer him a contract and we have to let him stay. And then Rodgers was like, well, where was this a long time ago? And that is why he didn't sign that contract to make him the highest paid quarterback over the next 5 years. So he said, it wasn't about the money and the way I felt of just double down on that. Nothing really changed throughout the summer. Obviously, there were some developments in the last week or so, but I was really working on myself and my own mental state throughout the summer, at various points deciding if I wanted to even keep playing, but the fire still burns and I wanted to be on the football team. We got some things figured out in the last few days, and I'm here. So basically Rodgers almost considered retirement, and so luckily for us Packers fans, he did not consider retirement. He still has a competitive fire. And I said that, an option for him was retirement, but I said it was unlikely because obviously coming off another NFC Championship loss, I knew Rodgers was still competitive and he still wanted to win a Super Bowl. So there's that, and he talked about his mental state. You obviously can see after the loss, he said he had to work on his mind and everything a little bit. So that is very understandable. So there was a lot of that, figuring out his life outside of football and just taking some time away from all that. But now it seems like he's got everything figured out for this year, for last Super Bowl run, maybe for the Packers. We'll have to see what comes in the next offseason. The Packers were close to settling a deal with Rodgers that would allow him to have more control over his destination after the season. So if things didn't work out this year, the Packers could trade him somewhere and it wouldn't affect their cap space and they would have a lot of flexibility. So moving on, part of what was figured out to acquire Rodgers' old running teammate Randall Cobb from the Texans. The quarterback couldn't rectify what Rodgers perceived as mistakes made by the Packers with departures of past teammates, but he could at least use his leverage to make things right with Cobb. So the Packers did get Randall Cobb. They traded a 6th-round pick to the Houston Texans to get Randall Cobb to the Green Bay Packers. So this obviously was an affordable move, and it's a steal. I think this is an absolute steal. 6th-round pick. You know, you could get a very raw talent. This talent, 6th round, 7th round picks are unlikely to start. They struggled to make the roster, so you get a receiver that is definitely on the downside of his career. He is in his 30s now. He's in his mid-30s, getting to the late 30s. So he is definitely not prime Randall Cobb. but it does give you some depth at receiver and is a player Aaron Rodgers wanted. And maybe it's a step in the right direction, who knows? So him, Amari Rodgers, is just adding more depth to the receiver room, and he could fit really nicely as a slot player and help Amari Rodgers develop. So that he is a true slot receiver, and the Packers lacked a true slot receiver in years past and a couple past years ever since Cobb left. And now they have a lot of options to go in the slot wide receiver spot. So they're adding one Rodgers knows well, and it could help the offense even more going into next year. So that is good. For a period of time this offseason, Rodgers wasn't even sure he wanted to play football anymore. He was so disenchanted by the state of the Packers, he revealed Wednesday he'd seriously consider retiring. Yeah, it was definitely something I thought about. Rodgers said, I talked about how important being a full timer was for a long time. This is the first time to spend the off season away without a COVID year or lockout year, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I took time working on myself and trying to better myself in a number of areas where I feel like I can improve based on my own patterns and conditioning. And it was a lot about growth in the process. I continue to find joy and happiness in things off the field. However, there's still a big competitive hole in my body I need to fill as I get back to the workouts. I just realized that I know I can still play and I want to still play. And as long as I can feel I can give 100% to the team, then I should still play. Rodgers will play in 2021, but if the quarterback told us anything with his press conference Wednesday, it is the divide between him and the Packers management still exists. So he made sure to emphasize he's not a victim here at all. I just want to reiterate that. Rodgers said, I've been paid a lot of money. Rodgers just wants the organization to value him as he feels it should through actions, not just dollars. For now, he and his teammates will begin to prepare for another season with high expectations. Beyond that exists more than one massive question mark wearing number 12. I really don't know, Rodgers said when asked if he expects to be a Packer in 2022. I mean, I think things are in that direction, haven't really changed at all. I think I'm going to focus on this year. There's a lot of moving pieces besides myself, expiring contracts for a number of guys, so there's going to be a lot of tough decisions at the end of the year. I'm just going to enjoy this year and then revisit that conversation at the end of the season. So that is basically it. There was some other points of note from Rodgers in the depth presser Wednesday, but basically the Packers' pressure to win a Super Bowl is on this year because Adams is in the last year. His contract, he talked about, he wants to be the highest paid wide receiver in football. We'll get more into that in a little bit. You obviously bring Cobb back for now. You have Jair Alexander who needs to get paid next season. So there's a lot of free agents, and Rodgers is like, he wants to make sure he's still on a Super Bowl contending team. And so there's a lot of contracts, a lot of decisions, a lot of tough things that are going to have to come down next season. So the Packers really need to win the Super Bowl this year, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously Tom Brady, and that team, it might be one of the best teams, or if not the best team Tom Brady has ever played on. You know, that stacked offensive line, all those weapons, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Gronk, all those guys. And then on defense, the pass rush was Shaq Barrett, JPP, the linebackers, Davante David, Devin White, who were absolutely outstanding. The run defense, Vita Vea, Carlton Davis, and that secondary is only improving. Antoine Winfield is in his second year, so the Buccaneers are a really big challenge. The Rams obviously are going to be tough now with Matthew Stafford, and that passing game, I'm telling you, it's gonna be really good. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, they have speed with Deshaun Jackson, Tutu Atwell, Tyler Higbee, but Cam Akers' injury is a big blow for them. So we'll see from that. The Cowboys are there. The there's a lot of teams in the NFC that you have to keep an eye on. The 49ers, you have to keep an eye on their return. The whole NFC West, the Seahawks, the Cardinals. So there is a lot of competition. That's not even mentioning the AFC with the Chiefs. The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills. So there's a lot of pressure on this Packers team to win now this year, because next offseason there's just a whole lot of guys that could be leaving, and a rebuild stage might begin for the Packers next year. So we got to win the Super Bowl this year. So other points for note from Rodgers in the depth presser Wednesday. He was asked why he kept quiet during his prolonged standoff and responded with the simple explanation: he didn't want to drag the name of the franchise he loves dearly in public forum. He didn't want to get into a public match that was with the team he employed for 16 years and the team that he got paid a lot of money from. There were some leaks for sure. I can promise you I didn't have a part in those. With the dust settled, at least for now, on the matter, Rodgers was asked about the state of his relationship with Packers GM Brian Gutekunst. He said, "It's professional at this point," Rodgers replied. And then Rodgers was asked if he realized he might have made the wrong decision or on the futures of a few former teammates who made more money elsewhere than they were offered by the Packers. He replied by producing some anecdotal evidence in regards to former teammates he previously mentioned, Charles Woodson and Jordy Nelson, for example, citing offers he considered to be low balls and suggesting the players in question would have happily taken pay cuts to stay in Green Bay. Instead, Rodgers said they were cast aside as the organization moved forward, wasting room Rodgers believes existed to more gracefully handle such situations. Rodgers said he'd like more input in such matters going forward to help alleviate the pain often incurred in these divorces. On multiple occasions, Rodgers emphasized the importance of individuals and the club's collective efforts to win championships. With this in mind, he responded to a question about how he feels about still being the Packers quarterback by expressing gratitude. "It's the people that win the championships," Rodgers said. "I just want to be a part of people's decisions. It's still an honor. It's still something I've been very proud of," Rodgers said, of being with the Packers of what will be his 17th season. "I've been here a long time. I've seen a lot of change. It's been fun to be a part of all the growth. This has always been a special thing to be the quarterback here, and I'm really thankful." So Rodgers again saying that the organization is about the people, how the people are run, the guys in the locker room, the guys in the front office that make the decision. So basically, to keep Rodgers around, Green Bay, they got to be all in. They got to win the Super Bowl this year. If they don't win the Super Bowl, the front office got to figure out how to keep everyone and bring them back on they got to pay Adams to be the highest paid wide receiver in the league. That starts with that first. So Davante Adams was asked about his contract and what he wants. So we'll get right straight into that. So Green Bay wideout Davante Adams addressed the media for the first time since reports emerged that he and the club had broken off long-term extension talk negotiations, signaling that the two were at odds over the all-pro receiver's future with the franchise. Adams, who is entering a contract year and is slated to make around $16.8 million this season, wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league, a title currently held by DeAndre Hopkins, well deserved, whose per year average on his latest deal is $27.5 million. So that is like almost 11 million over Adams this year. He says, "I'm not going to get too far into details about the numbers and all of that stuff, but I like to say that I've outperformed my contract on my current contract," Adams told reporters Wednesday, minutes after Rodgers' epic half-hour session. "I'm going to keep elevating. At the end of the day, however, it pans out the way I'm going to think long and hard about how everything goes. At this point, like I said, I'm here for my teammates and I'm really excited to be back. I told you guys before, I'm a man of my word, and I'm ready to play. So Adams is going to play this 2021 season, but after the season, his contract is up, and the Packers have a period of time to pay him before he hits free agency, and it's got to be more than $27.5 million a year, which is DeAndre Hopkins' contract. So, that's going to be a challenge for the Packers. Adams was present and accounted for at Green Bay's first training camp practice Wednesday. Just like star quarterback Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't look like the Packers will have to worry about any contract-related absences coming from Adams going forward. The wideout told reporters that he doesn't anticipate restarting negotiations with the team during the season, which is about to start, so we'll have to wait until after the season, the off season. So he's going to keep his mind focused on the field and not on his contract. That's how I've had success my whole life. That's the recipe for me, just locking in on the moment. Adams explained, but I start thinking about getting paid and all this other stuff and my mind is not right. It makes it really tough to focus on what you got to do. This is a tough league to perform in consistently if you don't have your mind right, especially at the position I play. You've got to be focused, man. Like I said, that's been my recipe in the past, and I'm going to stick to that. We'll play football, and then we'll see. I can't really speak on that because I don't know how I feel later, but at this point, it's just about playing ball. Adams added later, I'm not a baby, so I'm not going to show up, and I'm not complaining about it. At the end of the day, I'm not poor right now. I'll be okay to get through and go to try to win a Super Bowl again. That's my main focus right now. The off season was working out and trying to come to an agreement, but we weren't able to do that. So it's time to lock in. So Packers front office has a lot on its plate at the moment. Not only were Brian Gutekunst and co. very recently in contract talks with Adams, 28 years old, but the Packers are now working on a revised deal for Rodgers that would see him return for at least the 2021 season, and swung a trade for Randall Cobb, a former teammate of Adams and Rodgers. Adams said he was ecstatic about the move for Cobb, joking, I'm just waiting on Jordy Nelson and that will be complete. How the Packers roster looks this year might be very different. How this Packer roster looks this year might be very different than how it looks next year, especially at quarterback position where Rodgers could be out and Jordan Love could seize the reins under center. Whether or not Rodgers is on the roster, Adams' stance on his contract remains the same. He wants to be the highest top paid pass catcher in football. It's not about being a baby. What other profession do you take less than what you have earned? That's not how it goes. Adams says, I've earned the right to be the highest paid in the league. So yeah, he is right. DeAndre Hopkins and Adams to me are like 1A, 1B. You could throw Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, maybe even some other really good guys. So that is basically it for Davante Adams. He just wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league, but he's not going to focus on that right now. So contract extensions have broken off. It's highly unlikely they're going to agree to anything until after the season is over. So we'll have you covered during the regular season of the Green Bay Packers. They got to do well, win as many games as you can. If they could get that number one seed again and get that first round bye again, that would be really helpful and such a huge advantage. Getting the number one seed in this league is a very, very important thing, because then you don't have to play wild card weekend and you get home game divisional round. If you win that home championship game, if you win that, you're in the Super Bowl. So it's going to be tough to do that again, but the Packers definitely have the roster and the talent to do it. It's just Tampa Bay Buccaneers are their main competitors. That's just a team that really, really makes me nervous. So they get Cobb back. They really have to win the Super Bowl this year. It's an all-in year. So the Packers have it. They were ranked as one of the best offenses last year, with Rodgers having his MVP season. They also signed Dennis Kelly, which is the last thing I want to touch on this video. He's a tackle, so we'll tell you his numbers, and I'll tell you if it's a good signing. So Dennis Kelly was just signed by the Green Bay Packers, and this is a tackle, an offensive tackle that is being brought in. He's a veteran tackle. This transaction is now official. He's officially on the Packers, and this signing is natural for them. So with David Bakhtiari recovering from his torn ACL, the Packers lined up for day one of training camp with left guard Elgton Jenkins moving out to left tackle and Billy Turner at his customary spot at right tackle. Ben Braden and John Runyon split the left guard snaps. Lucas Patrick was right guard, and rookie Josh Myers was the center. So the number 3 tackle spot is valuable. In 2020, Ricky Wagner played almost 60% of the offensive snaps. In 2019, the Packers might have not made it to the NFC Championship game without Jared Veldheer coming off the bench for the playoff win in Seattle. Kelly started 5 games for the Titans in 2018 when Packers coach Matt LaFleur was Tennessee's offensive coordinator. The 31-year-old has been a full-time starter twice in his career, once a rookie 5th-round pick by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2012, and again last year with the Titans when he played 1,046 snaps at right tackle. According to Pro Football Focus, he didn't allow any sacks last season. Of 58 offensive tackles with 350 snaps in the passing game, Kelly ranked 23rd in PFF's blocking efficiency, which measures sacks at 0, hits 11, and hurries 15 per pass protecting snap. For comparison, Turner ranked 28th and Wagner was 25th. So statistically, Kelly was better than both of those guys. So that is very good. And helping painting a running attack for Derrick Henry, Kelly was found guilty of 5 stuffs, a tackle at or behind the line of scrimmage, a rate of 1%. Again, for comparisons, Wagner's stuff rate was 0.4% and Turner was 0.9%, so a little worse than them, but still very good. So he was guilty of 2 penalties and hasn't been flagged for holding since 2016, which is absolutely mind-blowing. He turned 31 in January and was released by Tennessee in March. He has played in 104 games with 47 starts. Listed as 6'8" and 321 pounds, he became the heaviest player in NFL history to score a playoff touchdown with the catch versus Kansas City in the 2019 AFC Championship game for the Titans. With his size and long hair, he attracts attention. There's a couple of different responses that I get when I'm out, Kelly said in 2020. I get, why are you so big? You must do something. Being so big, people will ask if it's basketball if they don't know who I am. Titans fans know me, say, I love what you do for the team and the city. Good game yesterday. There hasn't been a lot of Undertaker what's up, but that's the handful of wrestling fans come up when we talk a little bit. So I give the signing an A+. The Packers really needed depth at offensive line, especially seeing what happened in the NFC Championship game. So Kelly is definitely an upgrade over Wagner, who we cut, and definitely adds more flexibility around. So Bakhtiari may miss the start of the season. He's still recovering from that season-ending injury. So without Bakhtiari, the lineup could look like Turner and Kelly at the tackles. You have Jenkins could slide in at guard, Myers at center, and then Runyon at the other guard is a possibility. But then if you have Bakhtiari in there, then Bakhtiari at left tackle, Kelly could be at right tackle, or Billy Turner. It could be a battle to see who starts there. And then you have Jenkins at guard, Myers at center, and then you could have Runyon, or you could slide Turner in at guard and have Kelly at tackle. So it basically allows you a lot of flexibility. So the Packers now have a backup tackle, which was really necessary in case a guy goes down with injury. You have a lot of flexibility. So the Packers offensive line is very well coached, and you normally have one of the best offensive lines year in and year out. So that is a big part and due to coaching staff and getting the right personnel. So that is very important for them to have time to throw in the pass game and run the ball with Aaron Jones, set up that play action, which led them to so much success in Rodgers' MVP year last year. It gives more time for the guys to get open. Route runner Davante Adams, slot guys Rodgers, Randall Cobb, number 2 receiver MVS Lazard, Tunyon at tight end. So they definitely have one of the most talented offenses in the league still, with a defense with Rashawn Gary, Zadarius Smith, Kenny Clark up front, Preston Smith to rotate in there. Young guy. They signed Devondre Campbell, who's a veteran who can help Kamal Martin and Chris Barnes, who really took over. Chris Barnes surpassed a lot of expectations, becoming really the best linebacker on the Packers. And Joe Barry, a new defensive coordinator, who was the linebackers coach for the Rams last year, who had the number 1 defense. So maybe he can improve defense. Hopefully, he's going to be really key. But you obviously have Jair, who you can expect to have another amazing season. Eric Stokes, I think, is an upgrade already over Kevin King, but they still have Kevin King for 1 more year. And then who knows if they have Shannon Sullivan at slot, they can move Stokes around, so we'll see. But Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos are really reliable in safeties. And so the Green Bay Packers are a Super Bowl contender. So we'll see what happens. Preseason is approaching. We could see Jordan Love playing in the preseason, but then the NFL season starts in September. So we'll break down the news of any other Packers news that breaks before the start of the season, and then we'll see. Hopefully, we'll have predictions week by week, and then we'll react to the games and we'll break them down. So thank you all so much for watching. That is it. Basically, the issues Rodgers has with the team, Adams' press conference and his contract talks, the Packers trading for Randall Cobb, and signing Dennis Kelly, 2 great additions for the offense at very low cost. So Rodgers wants more say in his personnel. Like, he talked to Preston Smith, and he knew he was the guy that was willing to take a pay cut to stay with Green Bay and able to win a Super Bowl. And he has friends, he talks to people around the league that he could think would be valuable in helping the Packers win a Super Bowl. So that is it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Road to 400. Comment I subscribe down below, or comment what you think of this video, what you think of this whole situation. See you in the next one. Peace. Thank you all so much. Share with other people who know about football and would enjoy my content. So see you later.